Welcome into another episode from the Critics Collective. Normally, we do the 1, 2, 3 count. We do some reviews on television and films and everything in between. But today is a little different. Today, we're going to answer the question that we all kind of talk about in our circles: WCW's Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is 4 faces chiseled in stone. You can't change it. You can't shake it. There's some space on there for a few more talking heads, but hey, it is what it is. That's what history gave us. Now, Manny is going to go ahead and let us know his honorable mentions, and he's going to tell you who his top 4 is in no particular order. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to sit there and tell you who was honorable mention and then who's my 4 that I can't say, we can't collectively say WCW without these names. And in the comments, you can go ahead and hit us with your 4 horsemen. You see what I did there, WCW? Ooh, foreshadowing. Anyways, with that being said, hit the subscribe button, like, follow, and comment for more. We greatly appreciate it. If there's any other, conversations or topics, put in the comments. We'll be, love to have those conversations. Maybe the next Mount Rushmore is TNA nonstop. Maybe we go ahead and talk about who's the best, who's phenomenal, if you know what I'm talking about. But dropping these eggs, that's what I do. I'm a wrestling god. So with that being said, not so super fan Manny, take it away.
All right. So to kick it off, my honorable mention. Are you gonna start it off? No, not this guy. It's gonna be Mr. Sid over here.
Ooh, Sid Vicious.
Yeah, it was. That's one of my honorable mention. It just his persona overall, the way he presented himself, and he was a great wrestler. Just gonna move on to the next one real quick, which was this gentleman right here, Lex Luger. When he came out, I really thought he was gonna be the next, kind of like Hulk Hogan, but I wish he was. A person wise, I wish he was, but as far as Lex Luger, he was just that presentable guy. I really like how he wrestled and how he presented himself compared to Hulk Hogan. But and last but not least, you can't go wrong with Rey Mysterio.
They did my boy dirty over there. Unmasking him, not caring about the heritage.
But that run Rey Mysterio had as a heel in WCW was ridiculous. We're gonna hump you like the dogs
you are. Yeah. And it was also cool because for us, a lot of the US audience, kind of the same thing that WWE is doing with AAA, is that was our first time seeing Mexican wrestlers, seeing luchadors, seeing high flyers, seeing, all the skill sets, the Eddie Guerreros, the Dean Malenkos, like Chris Jericho. It was just cruiserweight. It was a completely different type of wrestling that we weren't able to see on WWE at the time. And so, yeah.
And for my top 4,
here we go.
We're gonna start off with Mr. the Matt Genius himself, Mr. Scott Steiner. Big Papa Pump. Always coming out with the girls, everything. Yeah, I just love this old attitude, coming out with the girls and how the whole. As a kid, I thought he was like, one of those superhero looking characters out there.
Love the Billy Graham look too.
Yeah. Then we go to the next one, which I was a big fan of, which I really thought was an actual superhero, because at that time, before Sting changed into the whole white face paint, which was ridiculous when you had like the Crow out and stuff.
Oh my gosh, that shit was crazy. Motherfucker point a bat at you. Like you could have been with your friends at school chilling. If somebody pointed a bat at you sinisterly, you're like, oh
yeah. So Sting, you can't talk about WCW without talking about Sting. He's always gonna be that guy. I think WWE kind of dropped the ball on him when he went over there, but his run in WCW was phenomenal. Then we're gonna go to the next one. It's DDP. Okay, that's Hall of Famer right there, man.
Yeah, he is.
Ridiculous when it came to him, but again, it's just another wrestler overall, like not just in the ring, but outside the ring, especially what he does now with other wrestlers, as far as them being disabled or need money, how he helps
Yep.
medical stuff. But
he had a health scare recently, a
yeah,
heart scare, and he's so far he's good, and he's doing his stuff. It's another person that you mentioned. You mentioned Sting earlier. Both people, legendary in the WCW, came over to WWF, WWE, and they got screwed. We never got Sting versus The Undertaker. That should have been some legendary fucking matches. Oh my gosh, whether pre-recorded on a funeral, like a cemetery type shit, or on the beaches of California to throw back to the California days of Sting. We never got that. That's unfortunate. But the DDP creepy stalker with the Undertaker and stuff that happened, that was wild. And then DDP even saying there was another legend, I can't remember who, let us know in the comments, who was going to go with that story route, but he chose to do it because it was Vince's idea. Burnt this man. For most WCW people know DDP to be the legend, but I feel like a lot of WWE fans don't know DDP to be him. That finishing move, you can hit that motherfucker anywhere. That was before Randy Orton was dropping motherfuckers on their head. It was just as impactful as a Stone Cold Stunner. But yeah,
I think a lot of wrestlers picked that move up too.
Actually, if you go back far enough, I believe, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, I believe Hunter Hearst Helmsley, his first finishing move was the Diamond Cutter. I think they called it something different. He did the Diamond Cutter. It was a nasty looking move because it just wasn't as smooth as DDP, and it wasn't as smooth as Randy Orton or Soul or anybody else. But Hunter Hearst Helmsley, when he first debuted in WWE, he used basically the Diamond Cutter. And it wasn't that he was stealing and ripping the move. A lot of people say Triple H stole William Regal's gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Regal was in WCW doing that same gimmick. Hunter Hearst Helmsley came over to WCW when he was there, and they said, hey, look, you're going to be in this tag team. You're going to copy this gimmick. And I think they were called like Blue-Blooded Europeans or something, the Blue Blood Brothers or something. I can't remember what it was. And they shared that gimmick. So when Hunter eventually went to the WWE, they rebranded that, and that's what you get. So after a few matches, then Hunter Hearst Helmsley, Triple H started using the pedigree. And so, but yeah, there is a certain time period where he was diamond cutting motherfuckers.
I think Tama Tonga also had his own version called the gun stun or something like that.
It's a clean move. It's just, some people use it off the turnbuckle. There's a lot of different ways you could do it, reverse, behind, but it's just, it's not kind of
Javon moves kind of remind me of that too. Javon Evans. But last but not least, Mr. 5-time WCW champion himself. Can you dig it, sucker? Like,
I still sing this shit.
Yeah.
He's not a G.I. Joe guy. He's not. They did that for a second and they stopped that shit. And he went right back to popping off what he had to do. Booker T, the Flames. If I see Flames on a wrestling person, there's not that many people I think about. You think about Kane, you think about Bam Bam Bigelow, and you think about Booker T. That's just me.
There's not much to say about Booker T. He was great on the mic. He was a great performer, great wrestler. Had crazy moveset. The scissor kick, Spino Rooney.
Gosh. Yep, get up there with that leg. It was over. He would just start pumping. Yeah. Stevie Ray on the back.
And again, another one who had a great run at WCW, and came to WWE, had a great run also. But you can't. He's another wrestler. Mm-hmm. You can't mention WCW and not mention him up there in the Mount Rushmore, who basically even when he went to WWE, he kept talking about 5-time WCW, and he kept bringing it up, And
I think of all the people that kind of transitioned from WCW, he was probably the best one One of the best, I'll say that, because you had Chris Jericho, you had Eddie Guerrero, you had Chris Benoit, that transferred over. But for him, I think he did a really good job of letting WWE fans know who he was. And what I mean by that is the other ones had to get built up. You didn't know who Eddie Guerrero was. You didn't know who Chris Benoit was. You knew who Chris Jericho was when he came out with The Rock and the Countdown. It was that one. But Booker had to tell people, unlike DDP and Sting, where you probably didn't catch that magic of it. But
you can't never forget Hulk Hogan. I'm coming for your ass. Oh.
Yeah, I was about to say. He was like, And that's why it's also a funny Easter egg, whether they did it intentionally, and I feel like they did, because Vince doesn't do much of anything accidentally. Remember when Vince had the do-rag on with John Cena?
What's up?
And then he turned, and Booker is sitting there with his woman, and it's like, I know this motherfucker didn't just say. So with that being said, let's segue into my honorable mentions. All right, Mr. Showtime's honorable mentions of WCW's Mount Rushmore. Okay, so the people that I wish I could fit on here, but I just can't fit them on here because it is what it is. I'm gonna go with Self High Five, DDP. Yeah, I just got to go with DDP. The move set was crazy. The energy that this guy gave, it was just, I don't know, the look about the guy, his promo, he would just almost like Scott Scott Hall, where he would just kind of bounce on the ring. And that just, there's something about that energy, somebody bouncing on the ring like, I'm about to bomb. And he would it was something about it. Honorable mention, close, but just not there. The other person I would say close, but just not on the mountain is, or the granite, whatever it's made of, would be Lex. Lex, the torture rack. I put so many cousins in the fucking torture rack to let them know how it felt. Lex had the look. I didn't know that he was smoking or doing drugs. I don't know that about Lex. I just know he had the look. WCW and WWE, Yokozuna, the big battle on the ship, like he just had everything that was made to be the next superstar, and it just wasn't happening in WWE. And he was over there in WCW, and he had a ridiculous run when he captured the championship. I think it was 97 against Hulk, and that was just a crazy moment at home. Was wild. So you can't mention without him saying that one. And then the last one that I'll say be the only one adding someone who is not a wrestler, Eric fucking Bischoff. You got to add Eric Bischoff. If you showed his face to people around the world, they're going to say NWO. They're going to say WCW. That's just what they're going to do. And the fact that he's been in the business for multiple TNA, WWE, ECW, he's just been all over wrestling, indie and big promotions. You cannot stop the fact that Eric Bischoff is a part of WCW wrestling.
Yeah, because of him, he gave, when he came in, he was giving WWE a run for their money during his run over there.
And the thing that's interesting about Eric Bischoff, if you get a chance to listen to his podcast, I think it's called 82 Weeks. He's got a lot of interviews and podcasts over the decades, actually. He's not just like a talking head GM where they're just there, a part of the story. He's a writer. He's a producer. He's an executive producer. He created these gimmicks, and he helped Ted Turner and WCW do what they did for the time span that they did. And he's made some mistakes. He's not perfect, but again, he was more than just a pretty face, some people will say. So that's my honorable mention. Now, if I want to go ahead and chisel up in no particular order, you got to go with Sting. He came all the way from California to what seemed like a cold, undead spot, and him sitting at the rafters just staring menacingly before a commercial break made me lose my mind while I was supposed to be doing homework or going to bed. Him coming down from a zip line to clear everybody with a fucking bat was wild. His outfit, it was a scorpion that would go up the side. I remember playing WCW versus World Tour, where you would do the scorpion, like his finishing move, scorpion deathlock, the figure four, not the figure four, but point blank, his move set was ridiculous. He would get in there and splash in the corner like you couldn't do shit about this dude. And when you saw the face paint start peeling and tearing, it was something. And then you go further back, you got him with the California Surfer vibe, and he's still a legend. And the fact that he has been doing it for so long, Sting has to be on that mountain. doing what he's doing. And with that being said, you got to say, woo, to be the best. You got to beat the best. Woo, high flying. Woo. At the end of the day, this guy is legendary. Is he perfect? Behind the scenes, no, I don't know the guy like that. But he's one of those people that when he leaves this earth, they're going to shut shit down. He has transitioned from not just wrestling from a small territory to being a part of hip hop music, videos and songs and terminology. You can't go somewhere and go woo without somebody knowing woo what the hell you doing. Woo. Sometimes I sit home woo and I'm trying to have a conversation woo with my wife and she's like woo, just stop, and like woo, you can't stop it. That's just what it is. So Ric Flair has got to be on the list of being just known with WCW, and that's just what it is. Now, regardless if you like the man, the myth, the legend, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, you don't have probably Hollywood Rock without Hollywood Hulk Hogan. What he was able to do and bring that babyface character and do one of the biggest heel turns successfully, not just do it, because John Cena did a heel turn and it was not successful in the long term, maybe the short term, but Hulk Hogan doing what he did with the Outsiders and spray painting the belt and all that stuff. Listen here, brother. Now, I don't like the guy personally. Terry, whatever the fuck his name is, as a person, don't like him. But Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, iconic in WCW and WWE. Now, just sidebar, I don't like this motherfucker for obviously obvious reasons, right? But I also don't like this motherfucker because I've met this motherfucker. I can call him a motherfucker. I met this motherfucker on three occasions in my life, and none of them had to do with wrestling. I've seen him in wrestling, but I've met him in person. I won't say what it is for personal reasons. One of it is a legal thing. I ain't gonna mention it. He's already passed on. Mm-hmm. He was never a good guy. And it's not just to me. I saw other people in these settings that had nothing to do with wrestling. I'm talking about alcohol being there. I'm talking about party atmosphere. I've had an interesting life thus far. I have seen this man when no one else has in a wrestling form. And this guy is not the guy that y'all think he is. Anyway, but he's on the Mount Rushmore because he's out there doing it. And if I had to pick number one, again, not in a special order, but if I had to pick one more, I would have to agree with you. It would have to be Booker T. For me, it's the fact that Ron Simmons wins the WCW championship and he paves the way for someone like Booker T, African-American, to win the championship. That's something that's never happened before. That's why you had that ruckus where everybody was like, oh shit, they gave the belt. Jeff Jarrett to this day still talks about a lot of times, especially WCW, Eric Bischoff has mentioned it as well, that when you put the belt on someone, because Hogan was running in the back and the Outsiders were running the politics, that it was hard to get someone to win a belt or a championship or do whatever unless they knew somebody or whatever. Again, we had some actors win the championship belt. Like, that shit was wild in WCW. But when they said the belt goes to Booker tonight, no one complained. Everybody understood his work drive and what he did, and you can hear the crowd be excited. And so I'm not surprised about Booker T's long career, not just from WCW, but also WWE and what he's been doing, training superstars and stuff like that. So that would be my Mount Rushmore. I think we collectively agreed on some things and went sideways on some other stuff, but there's a lot of other people that we could have put on this list. So have that conversation in the comments. I mean, do you feel some type of way that Vader wasn't a part of it? Did you feel Eddie should have been a part? Or I don't know. Big Show, Dean Malenko, Jericho, Glacier. I mean, there's so many. Maybe not Canyon.
Dustin.
Yeah.
Mick Foley.
See, WCW, I mean, like I said before, there's a Bret Hart. I mean, some of them didn't have a long enough career.
Randy Savage.
Yeah, so I mean, Steve Nash, Scott Hall, Conan.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of people, but that's just what we thought. And, you can continue that conversation in the comments. So you could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be here listening to us too. Until next time, Daddy loves you. Wait, I gotta listen. Normally when I end the show, I say you could have been anywhere in the world, click allow. And I've recently switched to Daddy Loves You, because you could check the review that I did for John Candy's documentary, his true story. And it talked about his life and how, in a way, him playing the father figure in all those movies, he was able to be kind of a father to his kids because he just wasn't there. He was out there touring and making all those other decisions. And so it made me think, like, man, I have an opportunity to create content and I got kids and I'm not going to be here forever, you know? And the fact that I can lock this in, this is like forever. So I just me talking to my kids, talking to my family, whatever. And then that's what I say. But every now and then it does sound like I'm like, it sounds like I'm just, where is that coming from? Well, now you know. Now you know where that's coming from. So until next time, kalika-lika-lao. See how I switch that up.